We're just gonna wait for Mudit to join.
Hello,
Hi, how
hi.
are you doing?
Fine, fine, fine. What about you?
I am great. I'm doing good.
Okay, am I audible? Am I audible,
Yes,
right?
am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All.
Okay. So thank you all for joining in. I hope everyone's doing well. We know it's quarantine. We know you're spending a lot of time alone at home, and you'd want some conversation and discussion. So today we're gonna talk about gender-based violence. So to start with, I'd like to give a trigger warning. We would be covering sensitive issues and we would be talking about triggering experiences. So if you don't feel comfortable at any point, please feel free to log out and no, don't watch the live if you're not comfortable. So yes, let's just jump right in. Mudit, what do you think gender-based violence means?
Okay, so starting from gender-based violence, so basically gender-based violence is a very big term, right? It covers a lot and hell of events, a hell of things. So gender-based violence for me is a sort of harm which is done to an individual, right? If I talk about an individual, so in that individual, there are women, there are girls, there are men, and there are the LGBTQ community. So a harm which is done to an individual by an individual or a community or a society or at a country at large as well. So that is a gender-based violence for me.
Okay.
And yeah, so
It's okay, go ahead.
okay, okay, yeah. So basically, before you asked me what is gender-based violence. So for the audience, I would like to make one thing very clear. So there is a much big difference between gender-based violence and violence against women, violence against men, and violence against LGBTQ community. So you can't just club all those things. Like if you are specific about gender-based violence against women, so that comes under gender-based violence, but it doesn't. Gender-based violence doesn't come under violence against women. So gender-based violence is a big heading, and then violence against women, violence against men, and violence against LGBTQ community are a part of them. Okay,
Okay.
so this I wanted to make that clear. Yeah.
So, adding to your definition, I definitely like to say that it is committed because of your gender identity, because of who you are, and it may not just be physical or sexual harm, it may be psychological, emotional, financial,
Mental, yeah,
mental, exactly. So, all of these categories would come under that. And it's not just violence, I would say that the term violence is also a broader concept. So, under that, I would
yeah,
say even harm, threat, or any sort of force or abuse or any sort of negative influence on another person. Other than that, it's not just about towards, like you said, not just towards a sex identified woman, not just towards a sex identified men, but also trans community, intersex community, so many different communities, and even something like medical violence is something that is committed on the intersex community when they are
yeah.
born because they are mutilated in that sense. Other than that, it doesn't necessarily have to be the partner. It can be a stranger, it can be a family member, it can be a cousin, it can be a sibling, it can be anything. So that's
It
why
can be anyone.
yeah, it can be anyone. So you have to make sure that it is a little bit difficult to report and open up about. Okay, so let's move on to the second question that I have. What do you think causes gender-based violence?
So see, gender-based violence, see there are many causes. Like if you, because gender-based violence is a very broad concept, very big concept, and more than a concept, it's a problem. Like
Yeah.
so, there are multiple causes and there are various root causes. Like if I could say that each and everything what we learn, what we do starts from our home. So basically, our mentality, what do we think, not we think about ourselves, but about others, about different sex, like about females, about transgenders. So like our thinking, lack of awareness, and like our lack of awareness, and the secondly the causes would be like not really accepting what is truth, right? Living in a sort of fake world, like, and then patriarchy society, so-called patriarchy society. This is also one of the causes. Then the causes could be like lack of education, what we get in the form of sex education from our schools, from our colleges, because they don't really teach us what is approximately the sex education, because that is really important, not for only females but also for men and also for other people to come and to know what is the correct thing, right? And since like to make our audience very clear, since our audience must be from various age groups, so they must have gone through that chapter of their class 8th or 9th which says reproduction chapter. So when they must have gone through that chapter, so I guess 99% of their school, I don't know whatever school they belong to, but there that chapter must haven't been told to them very openly in the way that should be. So that is one of the reason, a cause, like if those things should be told at that point of time. So the question, the curiosity and the other ways through which the student can learn differently and can learn in a negative way. So those things are totally abstract. If that teacher or if that institute, if that school, if that college will explain that thing in that time as well.
Yeah.
So I think this, yeah, that should be the causes. And there are, apart from these things, there are also multiple more causes, like putting it into various causes, that discrimination, the discrimination we face in society, discrimination on the basis of sex, on the basis, not on the basis of sex basically, but discrimination at each level, in the basis of color, race, caste, and etc. Then on the basis of inequality, which comes under discrimination, then patriarchal society, then mentality of the people, log kya kahenge, logo ka to kaam hai kehna, like the saying which is very popular nowadays. Then gender norms, basically, which are very common nowadays, the common gender norms. So these, I think, these are some of the reasons like which are there.
Okay, so I completely agree with your argument, and you know the ingrained sexism and the structure of patriarchy that we have, that definitely continues to perpetuate the system of gender-based violence. Other than this, I would definitely add that if you've seen the movie Pink, there is a scene in which he is trying to take a revenge on her because she rejected him. So I feel like revenge and the hurting of the male ego is also another aspect of it. Other than this, men also claiming the right to intimacy, whether if you're a married, if you're in a marriage, and it might be that mera hak banta hai or something like that. Other than this, you know, in times of crisis, if we talk about the pandemic, there have been research that the domestic abuse during this time has increased, especially with the selling of alcohol and selling of cigarettes, and these obviously have a very big influence on the stable mind of an individual.
Yeah.
Other than this, I would also like to add that you know, it might just be an idea of gender-based violence might just be created if you're born in an environment of violence. If for example, if you look, if a man has seen his parents physically fight with each other and violate each other, that he might have learned that himself and might just project that as he grows old. Other than this, I would also like to say that there are some ideas of using violence to discipline the wife, to, you know, keep her in check, or to resolve conflict in that sense. The last point I also like to say is that media, the representation of gender-based violence in media is such a big thing. Like you've
Media,
always
yeah.
seen in movies, and you've always seen the guy chasing the girl in songs and trying to woo her, and you know, also the concept of the entire damsel in distress. The guy is always trying to protect the girl from the villain. So I feel like that's a really big thing. Do you want to add something to the media
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, in the that media aspect, like there are various pictures, like mostly like nowadays I'm watching South movies a lot due to this lockdown. So in that South movie, like what the basic agenda of there is that there will be a hero, then a heroine, then a villain, right? So what the case they show is that the villain will kidnap the heroine, and that hero will only come to save that heroine. That female heroine is not capable enough to like protect herself from those
Yeah.
evil villains. So like telling these things, I guess, impacts the society, because what people see in the movies, they pretend to pretend to be like that. Because when I talk about Shaktiman, so students who are like, they saw Shaktiman, they did Shaktiman, and like there are many cases that people suffered from various injuries due to that. They jumped
Yeah.
from their buildings. So like what people see in the television, in the cinema and in the movies, so they try to act like that, they try to pretend that what they see, they are into that thing. We say Salman Sallu bhai, then we do this acting of him. So these are all about gestures we get from the movies, and then we pictures like Chapak, acid attack, then the picture like Thappad in which a slap was given, then a picture like Dangal in which like there was a huge motivation given to females that तू छोरों से कम नहीं है. So like you should not compare, like girls and boys both are at the same pace. You can't say that तुमने लड़कियों की तरह चूड़ी पहन रखी है. Like losing these words also impact, right? Give a huge impact comparing something to the other.
Definitely, and I feel like even other than the representation in media, it's kind of ingrained in our head how women are supposed to be the inferior sex, how men are supposed to have physical dominance over them. Or even if you look at something like religion or mythologies, if you talk about why is it called Eve teasing, why is it not Adam teasing, why is it specifically the woman who is teasing the guy? And even if you look at the Draupadi Chirharan in Mahabharata, yeah, if you look at that, and also if you consider Sita being the damsel in distress and Ram coming to save her in Ramayana. So I feel like that also plays a really big influence on us and how we kind of perpetuate our understanding of gender-based violence and how the social dominance theory plays out, how one group is always inferior to the other. So the next question that I have for you is, what are the challenges that you think survivors face while addressing their experiences, while opening up about it? What do you think that they are?
Okay, so while opening, like I guess first of all, more than challenges is that being true to themselves, right? Because see, when that case was arrived of #MeToo, that was a very popular incident when people started opening up and telling their incident. So I think more than truth, there were many people who were faking themselves, right? Those who haven't suffered from anything, like I'm not specifically talking about females, but many people were there, not related to Bollywood, I think. They were related to other backgrounds, those who were claiming that they suffered, but when the investigation occurred and what the real picture came out of that scene was that due to that flow, the flow of #MeToo, so the people, those who weren't suffering anything, so because of the monetary aspect, because of taking money from someone, so what they tried is, they tried to just go with the flow. They use the tagline, just go with the flow, and in under #MeToo, they tried to make their story. But yeah, at the same point of time, people should like come out. People should like really tell and like spread and like open up. Like this is the Pride month going on, so there are various people, those who are coming out, various LGBTQ community people, those who are coming out and sharing their experiences, what they suffered in their life, in their journey, from being home, from being like initially from the home, then from society, like then how they overcome that thing. Like there are people, those who love to wear sari, love to put nail polish, but the societal norms, but the orthodox society, what do they think? So first of all, the most important thing is we need to remove from our brain is log kya kahenge.
Yeah.
So that line needs to be removed from each and every youth's mind. Then only our mind could be developed, right? बिकॉज लोग क्या कहेंगे उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ना चाहिए, बिकॉज लोग का तो काम है कहना. हम जब रोड पे चलते हैं कितने कुत्ते भौंकते हैं, हम लोग नहीं सुनते ना उनकी बात कहीं भी. वी नेवर लिसन टू देम, वी जस्ट पास ऑन. So that is the criteria, that is the thing what we need to follow at this point of time in the globalized world, that we need to not listen to anyone. Not listen, but the importance is we need to listen. We should listen, but don't follow. Listening and following them, those things is like are two really like different things. We should listen, but don't follow that thing. Because सुनना, यहाँ से सुना से निकाल दो, वो चलेगा, बट ये नहीं कि सुनो फिर उससे डिप्रेस हो जाओ या फिर उसके अकॉर्डिंग काम करने लगो कि फलाने ने मुझसे ये कहा था तो मैं ये करूंगा. दैट इज नॉट द केस.
Yeah. So I think I definitely agree with your statement on लोग क्या कहेंगे, that does have a lot of stigma in it. People don't want to open up about their experiences, and it's completely fine if you don't want to, but then even if you do, I feel like there are a lot of challenges that you face when you want to open up about it. There might just be some sort of threat from the abuser that, you know, don't open up about it, or you see what I'll do or something. And, you know, the survivor might have limited resources. They might have lack of economic resources, lack of legal aid. And you know, it might just be the abuser might just be somebody from your own family. It might just be a sibling or a cousin. And at that point, I feel like a lot of people don't want to open up about it because they would rather keep it inside. So it's obviously it's completely up to them, but it's like you said, it's a little it supports other people in opening up about their experiences, like during the Me Too movement as well. Also, I would also like to say that there are a lot of challenges in addressing gender-based violence in with the people in the trans community and the people in the intersex community as well, and even the LGBT community, and even they might just be sexually harassed by somebody who is from their same sex. So that is something that is also not addressed. When you think of gender-based violence, it always usually comes across as the woman being the survivor. Even if you look at all of these laws, they're very gendered. They always talk about the woman as the survivor and the man as the abuser. It's never the other way around, right? So, and a lot of people don't actually have a lot of knowledge of their own rights also. They don't know the amount of power
Yeah.
they have, the amount of control that they have. So, definitely, I like to highlight that there are a lot of challenges in opening up about your experiences. Another question that I have for you is, what do you think we can do on an individual level to spread awareness, to you know, initiate a conversation, to kind of challenge the system of gender-based violence? What do you think?
So see, for the individual level, so since we are a youth, so I will talk about individual level of a youth. So youth has the most and most important and the most, like, the power, the special power, I can say, superpower in their hand is the social media. And more than social media, they have the power, they have effectiveness and efficiency, they have the energy, they have the age, they have their voice, they have their right in the form of vote. Because see, talking frankly that अब बूढ़े लोग तो कुछ नहीं करेंगे, like जो लोग अभी सत्ता में हैं या जो जो नहीं या जो मतलब चले गए हैं सत्ता से, like so talking about and saying every time that elect, like the politicians or the like different bureaucrats will do for us, तो वो टाइम अब गया. लाइक कोई किसी के लिए नहीं करेगा, ब्यूरोक्रेट्स भी नहीं करेंगे, पॉलिटिशियंस भी नहीं करेंगे, वो सिर्फ आएंगे, भाषण देंगे, इलेक्शन जीतेंगे, चले जाएंगे. सो दैट्स द ट्रूथ ऑफ द सोसाइटी राइट नाउ. So right now what the agenda and right now what the scene is that individuals should be doing things and individuals are doing basically. I see lots of individuals making groups, right? Lots of youths who are just coming and clubbing and making a group and giving it a nice and a good platform and a good name, so that they could, from that good platform or that good group, they could just bring in and could uplift the scene, right? If I talk about scene related to LGBTQ community, so there are various LGBTQ community people, and not only LGBTQ community people, there are also individuals, there are also other other sex people like male and females, those who are supporting them, and in their this Pride Month, right? I find lots and lots or more of individuals who are posting stuff and who are posting valid and like spreading knowledge regarding LGBTQ community, like what is the actual scene in the country. And apart from LGBTQ community, there are various groups like girl up clubs. They are spread all over the world. So this is also an initiative of an individual youth, right? This was also an initiative of an individual youth. Apart from girl up clubs, there are girl talks. There are other women development cells in every college, I guess, of India. Like if not every college, then 70% of the college has that. Then after that, there are various other NGOs, various other clubs, those who aren't registered but working effectively and efficiently. There is Youth Ki Awaaz. I can, like if I saw on Instagram, Youth Ki Awaaz, a sort of page in Instagram. There are youth for mental health. There are youth for climate change. So each and every one was a youth at his or her level. Then he inculcated, he managed resources, he contributed, he collected people. Then after collecting of those whole groups of people, they started functioning as a group. So each and every one started individually. So the case here is that we need to start at individual level, but after that individual level comes in, we should form some sort of groups, or if not groups, then if by the help of our context. Because see, I wanted to spread awareness, then how will I be successful if no one is here to see me? Like if today we are here giving a session, so what would be the use of that session that if no one comes to hear us? कोई सुनने ही नहीं आएगा हम लोगों को, तो what will be the use of me and you conversing in this topic, vast topic like gender based violence? Since 17 or 18 people are watching, so there would be no use if they won't watch us. So the main agenda here is that individual level पे हमको जो काम करना है उस काम को करना तो है, बट ऐसे करना है कि वो आइडिएशन से एग्जीक्यूशन तक का सफर जो है हमारा वो तो पूरा हो ही डेफिनेटली, बट उसके साथ साथ हम लोग जो मार्केट, जो ऑडियंस को कैप्चर करना चाह रहे हैं, जिनको बताना चाह रहे हैं, वो भी हमको मिले. अब उसको मिलने के लिए वी नीड टू लाइक ब्रिंग सम ऑफ आवर क्रिएटिविटी. इन दैट केस हमको क्रिएटिव होना पड़ेगा, आइडिएशन को इतना स्ट्रांग बनाना पड़ेगा दैट हम जो आइडियाज सोच रहे हैं वो आइडियाज नेक्स्ट लेवल के हों, आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स थिंकिंग जिसे कहते हैं. So that's most important. Like if individual level, what we can do, and in individual level we can spread awareness. We can do lots more of campaigns at physical level. Like we can give education in different schools and colleges. Like the youth, let's say less than 25 years, but more than 22 years, like 20 years. So what they can do is they can just go in different schools and colleges and give like proper education related to sex education. And apart from sex education, they can also give workshops on different aspects of gender based violence. Let's say menstrual hygiene, let's say different more like issues related to females or related to transgender, related to men, right? Because when we talk about gender based violence or women empowerment, then we keep think we our mentality comes in that the patriarchy society, the males are like we think of feminism. But here the case is we just need to think that males and females should be at an equal pace, right? की and का जो है वो दोनों बराबर होने चाहिए. लड़की अगर यहाँ पे है तो लड़का भी यहीं पे होना चाहिए. ये नहीं होना चाहिए कि लड़का ऊपर लड़की नीचे, लड़की ऊपर लड़का नीचे. तो वहां पे भी वर्क नहीं करेंगी चीजें. Because when our constitution says, when our constitution says that our more than constitution, our preamble, the first page of the constitution, it says that girls or boys or anyone, either rich or poor, male, female, kara, gora, koi bhi ho, everyone is equal before the law. When our preamble says this, then our constitution says this. And since we study in country like India, where each and every one of us has an NCERT book, and in that NCERT book we have the first page of NCERT which says our preamble, which shows the preamble of India. And in that preamble of India, we correctly see that equality is written over there. So when their equality is written, so I guess जो लिखा हुआ है उसको implement करना हम लोग को आना चाहिए. अगर नहीं आ रहा है, so it's our problem. We can't blame the community, we can't blame the government, we can't blame our parents, and we can't blame anyone. Because book में लिखा है, so we need to accept that thing by ourselves and implement it in our lives.
Okay, so I definitely agree with your argument. I feel like it's so interesting to talk about how on an individual level we can do so many things, like you said, even campaigning. But since we're quarantined right now, I feel definitely we can educate and spread awareness. We can look up some nice articles and research papers and read up more, and just make yourself understand what the people and survivors of gender-based violence actually go through, the experiences they have. You can even watch interviews and share stories and sign petitions, or even I feel like a main issue is respectfully. You need to respectfully interact with survivors of gender-based violence, even if they are from if they're from the LGBTQ plus community, or if they're from a different gender or a different sex. You still have to be very respectful and mindful of their experiences. And definitely working with NGOs, watching documentaries, watching movies, and reading books. There is so much information to be disseminated, so much to be learned. Even if you talk about movies like Pink or Thappad, like you mentioned earlier, and even there is this documentary on Netflix as well, Feminists, What Are We Thinking? So I feel like through this we need to recognize our own privilege and understand what the other people also go through, use the correct pronouns, and just create a safe learning environment for everyone.
Yeah, that's the point, right? Because see, since it's lockdown, like you mentioned, it's lockdown. So in lockdown, what we can really do is we should appreciate our colleagues. In lockdown, we could appreciate our colleagues who belong to LGBTQ community or who don't. I won't like pinpoint to LGBTQ community as well, but you can appreciate anyone. Like if I say if there is a girl in your class or there is a boy in your class or there is a LGBTQ community member in a class who is like very good in some sort of extracurricular activities or in some sort of art, he's an artist. So the least you could do is you could just post his some of the creativity on your status. Because see, at the end of the day, the person who gets appreciation, who gets motivation, who gets inspired by some other person, he like his motivation doubles up. Like if you will put if you will appreciate that person, so that appreciation will, I guess, it's more of an, it will be like gift for him, right? Because it will give him it will give him inspiration to do much more better things. If he is an artist, he is doing drawing since last 4 years, or let's say he started just now in this lockdown, and you will just, if you can, the least you could do is you can like, comment and share his like Instagram, on your Instagram story. So that inspiration will count, to him a lot, because then he will be continually pursuing that thing, and he will, like, one day or the other, he will definitely be excelling on that part. To that individual level, we can also do these things. And like you mentioned about that storytelling, like how story we could spread about the survivor story, right? So survivor story, I guess there are various platforms which could be reached, like there are various online platforms, online media promotional platforms, those who want and those who invite people that come, give us your story, we will display it, we will show to the world that what are you, who are you, what change have you made, and since you are a change maker, so you could do this, and we will spread your word that you are this, you are the change champions basically. So the need of the hour is that people should really come out of their comfort zone basically. Since we are a youth, and youth has the power to change the world, but that is only possible when we youth are effective and efficient, are with that mind. Because see, there are two types of people. There are one type of people, those who will focus only on like studies, only on their books, only on their career, their job, right? And on the other hand, there will be some sort of people, those who will definitely focus on their career, but apart from the career and money making thing, they will focus on the society, and they will focus not being the job seeker but being the job giver. So at those point of people, those group of people, they are known as people with the entrepreneurial mindset. And those career mules, the people, those who just focus on their jobs, and they really don't care about the society, about the other people, about their, even their family. They are just focused on their career, on their stuff, on their books, that I need to just mug up those books, just get good marks in the society, to show the society this, I am the topper of the school. Then after schooling in the college, I need to be the best, and like पढ़ाकू, जिनको हम लोग कहते हैं पढ़ाकू तोता या रट्टू तोता. So these are those people. So they are known as career mules. So I guess the need of the hour is that youth should not be career mules, but youth should be with the entrepreneurial mindset. I guess people over here, I don't know whether they have heard the name of Dashrath Manjhi or not. So I wanted to share a small story of Dashrath Manjhi. So Dashrath Manjhi is a person like who belongs to the community of untouchables, the people, those who eat rats, Musahari community people. So what Dashrath Manjhi did, his wife died because she couldn't go to the hospital. She couldn't be hospitalized because at the place where Dashrath Manjhi lives, it is surrounded by hills. So he couldn't get his wife to the hospital on time, because of which his wife died. So what Dashrath Manjhi did, he alone with a hammer and a chisel in his hand, he spent, I guess, 10 to 20 years alone, 6 to 7 hours each a day. He was a daily wage worker, so he goes to his work. Then after coming from his work, he sits down with a single hammer and a chisel for, I guess, 6 to 7 hours in night, and more than that as well. And so he made a road by himself. by just a hammer and a chisel in his hand, just for the sake that since what he suffered the loss of the life of his wife. So though that particular incident inspired him, and that particular incident hit him so hard in his heart, that he alone with a hammer and chisel built the road for all those people who discriminated him because he belongs to untouchables community. So see the mind gap. See the mind gap of that person, and that person, Dasharat Manjhi, was not even he wasn't a school, he was a school, he didn't see in school, like वो स्कूल भी नहीं गया था कभी, तब उसने वो रोड बना दी जो इंजीनियर का काम है, जिसको हम सो कॉल्ड साइंस एंड इंजीनियरिंग कहते हैं. तो वो चीज उसने करी. तो यहाँ पे अगर कोई पढ़ाकू इंसान होता तो वो अपनी टीम को लेके आता, मलुआ ये वे जो भी इनका मतलब सामान होता है, तो वो करके वो बनाता, अपना दिमाग यूज करता. बट दशरथ मांझी ने अपना दिल यूज करा, क्योंकि उसको लगा कि हायर आई बिलोंग टू अनटचेबल्स कम्युनिटी, सो आई डोंट वांट दैट नॉर्मल पीपल, सो कॉल्ड रिच पीपल, सो कॉल्ड ब्राह्मण्स एंड सो कॉल्ड अदर कास्ट पीपल, जो लोगों ने मुझे डिस्क्रिमिनेट करा है, उनके घर वालों को कोई दिक्कत हो. So that's the example of an entrepreneurial mindset.
Okay, yes, I do understand. I do agree with you and the entrepreneurial mindset and where it comes from, and having an intersectional perspective even on gender-based violence. Understanding that they come from different communities, different caste backgrounds, different minorities in gender and sex minorities, and it is very difficult for them to open up about their experiences. Even if you think about the regressive nature of the trans bill that came out in 2019, it just clubs intersex people under the bracket of the transgender community. It sort of forces them to have their transitioning surgeries, which a lot of people might not want to do. Other than that, it also, the trans bill is also very regressive. It definitely does identify a third community and is supportive of them, but at the same time, it just demarcates it into three different categories. There's male, female, and transgender. It doesn't recognize the rest of the genders and sex that might exist. Other than that, I would also like to talk about the Section 377. It was a great thing that happened last year, and we're all very happy that it got decriminalized. But it's just the beginning. You need to talk about inclusion. You need to talk about changing the mindset of people. It doesn't necessarily have to be just the decriminalization. It also has to be the legalization or something. Even if you talk about, US, they have regular pride walks and pride marches. So do we. But then they sort of have the protection to be able to do that because it is considered to be legal. And they even have laws for protection of the transgender people in the workplace. So even if you talk about the POSH Act that exists in India, it is there only to protect the women. It only talks about women as survivors of any sort of harassment or violence in the workplace. It doesn't recognize any sort of violence or harassment that the man may face or even any other gender. So that's definitely a really big issue. But getting back to the argument on how we can tackle gender-based violence on an individual level. So, recognizing your privilege, like we spoke about, talking about watching movies, discussing books, and initiating a conversation with your friends and family. I feel like, the difficult conversation has to be had with your orthodox uncles and aunts. I feel like that is a very important thing because it's not just education of the youth, it's education of everyone else. People say that learning has no age. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, yeah, exactly. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that only we are learning. Everyone has to learn in this experience. Other than this, I would also like to talk about how you would want to address gender-based violence if you saw it happening in front of you. What would be your reaction to that?
So first of all, my reaction would be that since a situation-based question, so what would be my stand? So my stand would be I won't initially call the police. I won't initially call the police. I will just go and I will just try to first explain them who are really involved in those things, because since it's happening in front of my eyes, so I could make out that those are the people who are doing gender-based violence. So I will just go and try to convince them with sort of relevant things according to their language. Like अगर वो लोग प्यार की भाषा जानते हैं, then I will just talk them like from very much politely. अगर वो थोड़ा सा aggressive mood में हैं, I will talk aggressively because see, जैसे को तैसा is the most appropriate way in India, right? I am not saying that it's wrong. It's wrong, but in India we follow the concept of जैसे को तैसा, कि वो जैसा है उससे वैसे ही बात करो. बिकॉज इन दी करेंट सिनारियो लोग समझते नहीं है. अगर आप प्यार से बात कर रहे हो और सामने वाला आप पे चढ़ाई जा रहा है, तो वहां पे देन व्हाट दी पर्सन हु इज इन फ्रंट ऑफ मी will think is that since I am alone and I am talking politely, so he will just pretend that I am just being inferior to him and he is superior to me. So in that is the case, I will just try to convince him, try to explain him. Then if he agrees and if he understands that thing, that will be like more of a like cherry in the cake thing. But if he doesn't understands that thing, then the next call would be to gather the crowd, and to then the next step will be to call the police. So what I initially feel, because calling the police is not a solution, because police will come, police will take him, जेल हो जाएगी, घर वाले छुड़ा ले जाएंगे उसको, then वो उनका माइंड यहाँ से माइंड से कुछ नहीं फर्क पड़ेगा, छूट जाएगा वो कल. जब आपका ये जो रेप केस हुआ था जो 6 years तक चला है, जब 6 साल तक वो रेप केस चल सकता है निर्भया का, तो ये तो सिर्फ जेंडर बेस्ड वायलेंस है. यहाँ पे तो वो लोग झट से छूट के आ जाएंगे 5-10 दिन में. तो वहां पे वो छूटने का केस नहीं है.
I feel like I wouldn't say that it is just a scene of gender-based violence. I mean, I'm obviously not equating an act of gender-based violence with rape, because if you look at the rape pyramid or the pyramid, it always comes on top, something like murder, rape. But then
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's different for different people. I might consider, any sort of eve-teasing on the street to be a bigger act than rape. It is just open to subjective experiences.
No, that's a big incident, but at the same point of time I am like comparing that with the laws, with the rules. Like I am comparing that with the rules. Like if I say that अगर let's say मैं उसको जेल भेज देता हूँ, तो क्या लगता है आपको उसको क्या कुछ होगा, उसके पनिशमेंट मिलेगा जेल से? वो पैसे खिला के छूट जाएगा. बिकॉज इट्स इंडिया में लोगों को दिमाग से ज्यादा दिल पे हिट करेंगे. अगर मैं वहां पे उसकी बेइज्जती नहीं कहूंगा, बट मैं वहां पे उसको 10 लोगों के सामने समझाऊंगा, तो उसको वो फील होगा कि हाँ मेरी बेइज्जती हुई है. एंड मोर देन दैट, लोग भी जो होंगे वो भी जब यस बोलते हैं ना, बिकॉज द क्राउड इन इंडिया, मॉब किलिंग इंडिया में कितना ज्यादा हुआ था एक टाइम पे, राइट? मॉब किल्ड पीपल. देन अभी ब्राह्मण्स को किल करा था मॉब ने, आई गेस इन मुंबई. It was in Mumbai when some of the Brahmins were going and the mob killed those Brahmins. The mob killed those Brahmins in the lockdown itself. Lockdown की ही बात है, right? So like mob killing is very like big thing in India. So जब 10 लोगों को गैदर करके आप समझाओगे किसी बंदे को, अब वो वहाँ पे धमकी नहीं देनी है. There is much big difference धमकी और समझाने में. When you will tell him that this is wrong and why this is wrong. मोर देन रॉन्ग क्यों है, एंड बिकॉज टेलिंग देम पर्सनलाइज्ड वे कि आप जब घर में अपने मम्मी हैं, आपकी सिस्टर भी होंगी, देन आपकी बेटी भी होगी, देन बेटी नहीं कजिन्स भी होंगे, एंड मोर देन दैट आप हर त्योहार पे जिसकी पूजा करते हो, गॉडेस भी.
I like to intervene in that argument of yours and add, and not just add, but in fact refute your argument, because women are always seen as a social role. They're never seen as independent of themselves. They're either seen, even if you talk about movies ki aapki to maa hoegi, aapki beti bhi hai, aapki behan bhi hai, and all of those things, they're always looked at, or aapke bhagwan bhi women hai. So it's always looked at in a particular social role. Women should be considered and recognized for their independent self. It doesn't have to be in a particular thing. So I agree with you that, intervening is definitely a big thing. Directly intervening. You can also try to distract the person. If you are, for example, if you're on the metro or if you're on the bus with someone, you can try to distract them, try to strike a conversation with them, try to talk to them, what is the time, how is the weather, or just a random conversation to get their mind off things. The third thing I would also like to add is delegating the entire experiences and, giving the task to someone else. Like you said, calling more people around, calling the police if that is required or if it is necessary. So, directly distracting, debating, or even delegating in that situation is very important. Other than that,
that
in order
depends
to
on the
be,
situation. Yeah.
other than that, even interacting with survivors of gender-based violence, you need to be, uh, you need to be comforting, and you need to provide a safe environment where they are able to talk to you. You need to keep a regular check on them. You need to talk to them regularly. You need to ask them when is a good time to talk to them. For example, if they're living with the abuser, they should be able to communicate with you when the abuser is not around. Other than that, staying regularly in touch with them, and maybe even connecting them to a psychologist if you feel like you're not able to. You're not able to connect well to them. If you feel like they really require, you can suggest to them if you think that they should go to a professional for help. Other than that, you can even connect them to legal aid. Like you said earlier, there are so many NGOs, there are so many organizations who are working for the
Yeah.
betterment women, transgender people, intersex community, LGBT community, and men. And all of these communities and genders do come under the bracket of gender-based violence, like we've earlier mentioned. And there are phone lines. Even as we post the video, there will be a lot of helplines that we'll list down for any sort of help that anyone requires. And is there anything else that you'd want to add to this point?
Yeah, I would also wanted to add about the since individuals individual level, I think that the role of media, as you stated, the role of films, then the pictures should be the process of making pictures should be changed. Like the story pattern and the script thing, they also need to be reformed according to the scenario, right? So since what they are showing really in the movies, so they should just shift that showing to showing something very fruitful. Like if I talk about Dangal, so in that the role of Amir Khan towards making her girls more of an independent sort of thing, that like my girls could also feel me proud. Right? He didn't run for a child. Like he didn't run for a boy child. He accepted that yes, I have a girl, so it's very good, and they will represent me. They will represent my country. So at individual level, we as an individual should also appreciate the girls in our surroundings at individual level. If we see a girl who is doing really good in any of the fields, so we should appreciate her. Taking example from
I agree. You should appreciate them, but to a certain limit. It shouldn't feel like they are doing something, because if you're talking about equality, they should be on the same level as us. They shouldn't be given right.
So much priority. Yeah, they shouldn't be given priority, but they should be given equality by just appreciating. Like if we take about Mary Kom, if we take example of Huma Das, so there are many females those who are doing excellent for the country and like for the society at large. So that they should be appreciated. Like they are representing our country.
Definitely. So, do you have anything else that you'd like to ask or do you like to discuss during the call?
No, like I guess I need not to ask anything. But yeah, since you guys are doing a really great job organizing this live sessions on the most crucial aspects of like gender-based violence and different topics, so these are really important topics to be talked on. Like more than doing campaigns to talk on. Campaigns are a part of life. Campaigns are a part of let's say a reform. But talking really broadens the mind of not just two people, those who are talking, but to many people, those who are seeing, those who will see. So that's the case.
And I feel like, other than in initiating conversation and talking about these experiences, we need to definitely reach out to the survivors of gender-based violence, and it has to be a more survivor-focused conversation. It has not a whenever you talk about gender-based violence, it's always usually focused on the perpetrator, never almost on the survivor. There needs to be psychology, therapy, counseling, financial and monetary help. So there are so many things that a survivor may want after going through an experience, and through that you just have to be extremely supportive, and you just have to make it known that it's always okay to reach out. It's always okay to open up about your experiences. If you want to put up an Instagram story talking about your experience, that's completely alright. If you want to go to the court for your experience, that's also completely alright. So normalization of the normalization of such a culture and a culture of consent that has to be developed. I feel like that is something that needs, even with all of the conversation that's been happening on equality, equals, feminism, and all of those things, and the videos that have gone viral. I feel like there has to be a more of a conversation, and I'm glad that it's happening, even if it's another form. There are responses to a lot of different videos, and there are people are initiating conversation, even if it's just through media. I hope they are talking to their friends and family as well, to their family members, to their cousins, to everyone else, to older people in their families, to try to understand where the mindset of women are not equal comes from. Where is it exactly? How is it there in the first place? Because
Definitely, definitely.
even if you look at something like violence or gender-based violence or harm or any sort of experience that anyone has had, it is difficult to open up about it, and they just have to know that there are people who are there who can help you out. So
Yeah.
I'd like to conclude the call, and thank you, Mudit, for being a part of it. Thank you so much for talking about it. Thank you so much for initiating a
Yes.
conversation with us to try to make a change. I'd also like to add a point that it is very important for even the both of us to communicate and talk after this live session to our friends, to our family, to initiate this difficult conversation. And also
Great.
another
Yeah.
issue, a last issue that I like to address is the unfortunate death of a GirlUp member in Mexico.
Yeah.
They are having a memorial service tomorrow. So definitely tune in to that and just kind of be there and give support to their friends and family. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, Mudit, for being a part of this
Okay.
session. Uh, Thank you everyone for
Thank
being
you
a
very
part of it.
much. Yeah. Okay. Bye and namaste everyone.